Hey guys, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, I do movie reviews, a sprinkle of television reviews, Oscar coverage, and of course, some ranking videos. So if you guys like my content from here on out, please like, subscribe, and comment. I could talk about movies all day, and that's what I would love to do with you guys. So let's get into it. Happy 2022, guys. I hope everyone had a blessed New Year's Eve, an even better chill New Year's Day. And I know what we all did on New Year's Day. And I'm here to review it because it was the most magical reunion that we could have ever asked for. And that is the Harry Potter 20th anniversary Return to Hogwarts special. It was everything that I hoped for and then some. I really loved seeing the Golden Trio back together again. It started off with Emma Watson and Matthew Lewis getting their Hogwarts letters randomly, in a book or like in a cab, and everyone went back home. And I think that's what the most beautiful thing about the Harry Potter franchise is that it feels like home to so many of us. And we have gone through childhood with Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson. We've gone through our teen years with them. And most importantly, they pushed us into adulthood as we experienced these like monumental moments in our lives. So did they. And we grew with them. And to be able to grow up with them and to have so many life lessons in Harry Potter, we learned a lot. I learned a lot about loyalty and friendship and what love truly is and what loyalty truly is and the extent that one goes to keep those relationships, especially my favorite relationship in the entire movie, to be perfectly honest, is actually Snape and Dumbledore, because we didn't see that coming. So I just really loved this franchise. We all love this franchise. It brought so much magic into our lives. And this is a testament that like 20 years later, we're still so invested in, the books and rewatching the movies because it's just a comfort to us now. And hell, we are all sorted into our houses, guys. That's the craziest thing, is that we even took like sorting hat quizzes, whether it was like on Pottermore or like on BuzzFeed. I even made one for Geek Bomb. Like we were sorted into our houses. I am a proud Gryffindor. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I have the traits of a Gryffindor. The first time I did take a Pottermore quiz, I actually was a Slytherin. So not that Slytherins are bad. That's what I'm saying. No slander. No Slytherin slander. They're a pretty cool house. They're all great. But I guess I was having an off day, because then I took the quiz again and I ended up Gryffindor, and I've always been a Gryffindor. And the beauty about this is that we put so much importance on these houses and these characters because growing up with them, they're like a part of us. And the reason why we are who we are is because of them, which is crazy because I have always kind of connected more with Rupert Grint and Ron Weasley out of the three of them. Other people have connected to Hermione, other people have connected to Harry, but for me, it was always Ron as like the trusty sidekick bestie. That was always me. But enough about me and the connection to Harry Potter. I really love this reunion. I love the structure of this reunion. I thought it was extremely well done that they broke it up into chapters. You had Chris Columbus come back. You had Alfonso Cuarón come back. You had David Yates. You had each director from the films come back. And that was really important because as we watched them dive into Sorcerer's Stone / Philosopher's Stone, depending on where you're living, Chamber of Secrets, we saw that Chris Columbus handled them when they were children. And they spoke about this, is that each director that came in for each film treated them differently depending on the stages of their lives. That was really important to do as actors, but also to help them grow as a person, as an individual. So I found that really interesting to get the behind the scenes feel of that. And also just seeing like Chris Columbus with the kids, it was really nice because he just knows how to direct children so well. He has so much patience with them. Like the dad of both of those films, their first like test footage between the three of them was really, really nice to see. And you kind of, for me, I got chills because it's like, who would have thought putting Rupert and Emma and Daniel together, and their first like screen test is that good and that everything clicked. And the three of them even said that it's like it was a different vibe, and like that's pure magic, not to sound like that, but it's pure magic. And it was just really nice. It's a nice touch. And what I loved about the three of them is that they had a sibling dynamic. As much as I love Ron and Hermione's storyline together, it is a sibling dynamic. And it was really funny to see each of them, talk about those awkward moments. I think that's where the Harry Potter films, especially with like Half-Blood Prince and Order of the Phoenix, where it started to get better for me in regards to the chemistry between characters and, the hormones raging, the teen angst. Like it was really fun, and you can connect to them even more so, even though you are basically considered a muggle. Not that I want to say that, because we're all magical in our own way, but it's an extra layer added to those characters to make them well-rounded and push the story forward into adulthood and what we can all experience. I really love the structure, as I said, bringing Helena Bonham Carter and Jason Isaacs, Ralph Fiennes, and Gary Oldman. I thought that was a really nice touch as well, to have those one-on-one moments and to have a discussion about their characters, to have these British heavyweights come in at very important moments in the story, especially for like Bellatrix and Sirius Black to come in. These are icons in the business, and they all played such an important role in this franchise. I really love that they came in one-on-one, talked about their characters, what they put into it, especially Helena Bonham Carter, because she's such a joy to be around, and then she had to like turn into Bellatrix, which is always scary. But I really love this reunion. It's like 4 out of 5 for me. I think that the connection between Dan, Emma, and Rupert is like a once in a lifetime connection for franchises like this, because the three of them having so much respect for each other and watching each other grow, and even in scenes that they had to act together, they're always like boosting each other and being very supportive. And I just really love that about the three of them. And that's what elevated the entire franchise, was the chemistry that they had, the trust that they had. It's just something so special. And we all felt that during the run of the franchise and now afterwards, where any kid can pick up a book. Like my cousin right now, he read the first one that I gave to him, and now he's obsessed. So he got all the books for Christmas. He's been reading them. He's already at the Goblet of Fire. It's only January, like 2nd here. So he loves them, and it's going to go on forever. It will live on forever. This is something that's just so genius and beautiful and magical that it will never fade. Will never fade. I'm thinking of doing a rewatch of all 8 of them after this reunion, just because of how amazing it was. And it's better to not have a host. Let's just avoid having hosts from here on out for a reunion special. Let's just not do it anymore, because this ran so smoothly. So now that I gave my mini review of the 20th anniversary reunion and, a little backstory of how connected I am to this franchise, I wanted to give my official ranking of all the Harry Potter films. Starting at number 8, I know everyone loves the book, but the Order of the Phoenix just never did anything for me. I don't know what it was. I liked it, but I felt that it did drag on. They tried to put so much into it, but I did appreciate the teenage angst in Order of the Phoenix. I think that was my favorite aspect of the movie. I didn't really like Ginny and Harry together, but they had to push it, obviously, because that's what happens in the book. I felt something was missing, and I can't put my finger on it. So with Order of the Phoenix, it is the last one. I'm really sorry, but it is. Coming in at number 7, I can't believe I'm going to say this, is Deathly Hallows Part 1. I know. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good. Like, I hate the fact that I have to rank these, but Deathly Hallows Part 1 had all the setup. 100% had all the setup, more character driven than anything. And I think that it was wise of them to break it up into 2 parts, that book, because there's so much and you wanted that grand finale without rushing it. So a lot of the first movie was them traveling and trying to find, the Horcruxes and dealing with the Horcruxes. But it was good. It's just that it did drag on a bit. It's not one of my favorites that I would put on and watch it over and over again. So that's coming in at number 7. People are going to get mad at this one too. Coming in at number 6, I have Prisoner of Azkaban. Nothing against Alfonso Cuarón. It was beautiful to watch. Like, hands down, Prisoner of Azkaban was beautiful to watch. But once you bring in playing with time, it just affects the storyline a bit differently for me, because then I'll go back and questions like, well, if this happened, doesn't it change this and doesn't it change that? It's still very interesting to go back and watch it and try to pick up on things knowing what happens. The introduction of Sirius Black is phenomenal. Remus Lupin, again, phenomenal. The Marauders, the whole storyline of that, I love that. Again, all of these films are like in my heart and I love them. But if I had to rank them in order of like what I watch over and over again, Prisoner of Azkaban I don't really go back to, but I thought the design for the Dementors was unreal. But we got so much more. There's so much depth in Prisoner of Azkaban that I think that was obviously lacking in Philosophers and in Chamber of Secrets, because we really push Harry and the three of them to their limits in Prisoner of Azkaban, and pushes them forward into my next one, which is actually the Goblet of Fire in 5th spot. Now, with the Goblet of Fire, I think I watched this one over and over and over again, just because of how awesome the Triwizard Tournament was. And I absolutely love the fact that they had the Yule Ball. They're asking each other on dates. It's all very like foreign to them. And it's just funny because Harry's the chosen one and you think that he would like get girls no problem, but he's just like this awkward dorky kid. Is like, he doesn't know anything. I thought that visually each round in the Triwizard Tournament was extremely well done, like beautifully done. And it's one of the more fun movies, even though it's darker. I really do think they had a good balance that way. Coming in at number 4, I actually have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, carrying out the same type of teen angst vibe, the awkwardness. This is where Ron and Hermione's relationship really hit me. Everything that happens in the Half-Blood Prince between like Lavender Brown, Ron, and Hermione, that's where my heart is. And this is where Hermione starts to realize that she does have feelings for Ron. And I think that it's just so cute. Their chemistry is fantastic. And I really love the both of them in this. I do find that the Half-Blood Prince angle was kind of like rushed and shoved in there. And that's the only peeve that I have with the Half-Blood Prince. But I do love the fact that we learn about the Horcruxes. As annoying as Professor Slughorn is, he's actually a lot of fun. He's really funny. This one also had the love potions incorporated, which was also an interesting angle. And, you know, it leads to them going to Professor Slughorn because of Ron. I just really loved everything about the Half-Blood Prince. I do rewatch it more than the other ones for some strange reason. It's because like I know all of Ron's lines. And honestly, when Harry takes the Felix Felicis and like the pincers part with the spiders is the funniest thing. I still die of laughter. Half-Blood Prince has a lot of memorable stuff and I really enjoyed it. So coming in at number 3, I actually have the Chamber of Secrets. It's the second film. So this one you have a bit more freedom. You know, there's not that much setup. It's like continuing the story and then adding a splash of something different, which was obviously Tom Riddle's diary, which we eventually find out that it is a Horcrux, the Basilisk Fangs, the Chamber of Secrets. You get a little bit more of who Voldemort is. They play around with magic a bit more. They're a bit older. And again, like this is where moments between Hermione and Ron, like you see the beginning of something, and they really, really place certain moments between the two of them throughout the franchise extremely well. So I love the Chamber of Secrets for that reason. A bit more playful. Again, it just gets darker as it goes on. Coming in at number 2, I have the Philosopher's Stone / Sorcerer's Stone, whatever you want to call it. This feels like home. This one feels like home. It's more of like the nostalgia hit when I watch it back. It's getting into the spirit and the essence and the entire atmosphere of Harry Potter in that world. And to actually revisit this one does feel like you're going back to Hogwarts. It's like, let's start over again. Not, like for me, watching Chamber onward, it doesn't feel like I'm going back to Hogwarts. It's more of like, let's continue this story. But with this one specifically, it just feels that way. And that's what Chris Columbus wanted, as he says in the special, is that he wanted it to be like a complete, like, full circle. Like, we're not actually going home. Not really. It's like Hogwarts is home for so many of us. And that's what it felt like. I felt like they set up the entire Chosen One storyline for Harry so incredibly well. The magic was great. The special effects, I think that after 20 years, going back to watching any single movie in this franchise, they did such an incredible job with what they had, and they made it feel realistic. I really love the character introductions in Philosopher's Stone. It's just so well done. So coming in at number 1, and I really do think this is everyone's top of the list. So good. And that is Deathly Hallows Part 2. This movie, I can't even begin to talk about the experience leading up to Part 2, because even the posters, it didn't even say that it was Harry Potter. It just had the date. It all ends. That poster alone shows how much of an impact this franchise has made. I watched Part 2 at least 6 times in theaters. It is one of the best finales to a franchise, probably next to Return of the King, that you felt the weight of it ending. Obviously, Lord of the Rings was only 3 films. This was 8 movies. It's like an entire decade's worth of spending time with these characters, and I totally get that. I just really loved it. I loved that they tied everything together so nicely. Everyone had their designated areas to kind of help Harry out at the castle. The Battle of Hogwarts is just one of the most memorable things ever. When Professor McGonagall just takes complete control and becomes a badass in Part 2, it is just iconic. It's so great. The final moments with Snape, really important. And in the special, Dan Radcliffe said that Alan Rickman knew everything. He knew the entire story. And it just helps him and helps us realize how important Snape is to every single aspect of Harry's life, to Dumbledore as well. So he technically did have to know everything. It didn't matter if everyone else knew everything, but it mattered that Snape knew. And when you go back and watch these movies, it's just so different to watch his performance back now, knowing that he knew everything ahead of time, because he did play it up and he knew. The final battle between Voldemort and Harry, it's something. It's something. You could, again, the gravity of the situation, these 2 powerhouses battling it out after, 8 films, nearly a decade, like you felt it. You got emotional because it was ending. It was a lot to take in, and it is one of the most beautiful endings to a franchise ever. This franchise means so much to so many people, and I can watch it over and over again. I'll probably go back and do a rewatch just because I'm in the mood now, especially after that reunion, which is also very rewatchable. So I gave the 20th anniversary special a 4 out of 5. Truly magical. That is also how I would rank the Harry Potter films. Please let me know if you agree with me in the comments. I want to know your HP rankings and if this franchise affected you the exact same way that it affected me. Well, there you guys have it. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, comment, let me know how you're feeling. You guys can always follow me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.